Dandava Pranan Maharaj.
Haribo, Dhanavad.
Haribol Maharaj. How are you?
I'm okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dhanavad, Hare Krishna.
Dandava Didi.
Dhanavad, Subha
Hare
Didi.
Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Maharaj. Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dhanavad, Saraditi, Prabhu. Didi Didi.
Dandavad.
Bhagavati.
Dandavad. Dandavad, Maharaj.
There's Priyadarshini and Priyatmana. They're okay.
From Priyata.
Sí, Maharaj. Today no in room Priyatama and Priyadarshini because I today I give a chess class for children in home. In this moment, I finish class. Then difficult for me. Don't Priyatama because is my for no it's difficult. I need more time. Today is difficult for me. For I am working today. Understand?
He had a chess class which just finished.
Oh, I see.
And typically it takes him some time to pick up Priya Atma and bring her downstairs.
Oh.
So he didn't have enough time.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, Mara.
Okay.
Oh no, I know. It's possible for me today. Vaishnava dress. No time today.
Krishna's in charge.
Yeah. And you, Maharaj, how are you?
I'm okay, Prabhu. Thank you. Going on. So let us sing, chant Vandana first.
Yeah, Maharaj. Yeah.
Vandeham.
Sri Guru, Sri Yuta Pada
Kamalam,
Sri Guru
Vaishnavam
Vaishnava
Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna
Chaitanya Devam
Krishna
Sri Radha
Shaka Vitam
Sri Viskanvitamscha Om
Jananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha
Puja
Sri Guru Varga Vandita Mahabhavanitaya Sada Purva Parya Parampara Chalita Prajya Pramukate Krite Nirmala Jajarasya Nirvitam Samrakam Sadaram Vande Sri Gurudevam Ananta Srila Acharya Varam Nijam
Purvabhishta
Suprakam Gurugane Rasista Sambhoshitam Chinta Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Sri Rupa Pantanugam
Govinda
Govinda Ujjalam Varam Tanum Bhaktyanvita Sundaram Vande Vishwagurum Cha Divya Bhagavata Premayi Bija Pradam
Evam Divya
Evam Divya Tanum Suchanda Lalaka Chelana Chittam Sandrananda Param Sadhye Karanam Vairagya Vidya Buddhim Siddhantani Bhaktim Lasitam Saraswatam Varam Vande Tam Subhadam Adhyeka Sharanam Ishwaram Sridharam
Shri
Siddhanta Saraswati Vidito Gaudiya Gauranmaye Pato Bandharuta Prabhuta Gaganevo Gaura Sankirtanaya Ayamatimingalara Tinudharate Jivanam Krishna Prema Sabadhi Gahana Sukam Pradam Prabhutam Tam Vaje
Namo
Namo Gaura
Kisoraya
Kisoraya Bhakti Vidota Murtaye Gaura Hari Padma Bringaya Radha Baba Nishevane
Vande
Vande Bhakti Vinodakam Sri Gaura Shakti Sarupakam Bhakti Shastrajna Samrajyam Radha Rasa Sudanidhim Gauravrajasheshayar Vaishnaver Vande Vigraham Jagannatha Prabhum Vande Premadvimruddha Vaishnavam Vancha Kalpataruvascha Kripa Sindhubhayeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Chatattvamakam Krishnam Bhaktararupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Satyekam
Namo
Namo Mahadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratviche Namaha Tam Surato Angar Mama Mandamatir Gatihi Matsarvasva Padambujo Radha Madana Mohana Yadvrindavanaya Kalpadrumadaya Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastute Sri Gandharva Srila Govinda Devu Prestabi Swami Nam Smarami
Srimad Rasa
Srimad Rasa Rasambhavi Vamshivata Tata Sitaha Tatsanveno Swayanir Gopir Gopinataya Sri Asto Naha Daye Tulsideva Priyaye Kesavaschita Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Adhanata Mantra Gurun Gurun Bhagavata Tadvan Vyasan Jagat Gurun Nato Tato Jayo Mudirate Vyasa Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Pada Padmanam Jastu Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, the Gurudev, Srila Acharya, Srila Santa Maharaj, Ki Jai,
Jai
Govardhana Ki Jai,
Jai
Veda Bhakta Vinda,
Jai.
devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, for Premanandi.
Jai Hari Hari Bol
Karyam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai
Who has that nice Krishna? Who has that nice picture of Gopal? What is this?
That's Linda.
That's me,
Who's that? Oh, is that
Maharaj Linda.
Very beautiful, very beautiful painting.
She painted it.
You made that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my goodness, that's so wonderful. That is lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful. Krishna inspired.
It is. I want to do him in the cloud next.
Krishna in the cloud?
Yes, in the cloud where it's raining flowers on him. I'm going to paint another one.
So we have two artists, all artists in our Sangha.
Ah, yeah.
Harinanda and Ananditididi, they're also artists.
Yes, you can see their
Oh, is
paintings.
Haryananda an artist? I didn't know that.
Well, he likes to paint chess pieces.
Oh,
Very nice.
Dandava.
Krishna has blessed you.
Ananditididi is the one who paints Krishna
Yes.
and Radha.
All right. Now, I just wanted to read the Vandana prayers today in English, some of them, to remind us what we're saying. We chant this every time, and in the Sanskrit, but it's good to say what we mean also in English. Okay. So I offer my obeisance unto the lotus feet of my Guru, the predecessor Gurus, the Lord's devotees, Sri Rup, Sri Sanatan, Sri Raghunath, Sri Jiva, and Sri Rupa's followers, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Dev, Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Sri Advaita Prabhu, Sri Chaitanya Dev's associates, Sri Radha Krishna, Sri Lalita Devi, Sri Rakshak Devi, and all of their associates. That is our family. That's our Guru Varga. It's from these that the conception of the transcendental world is coming down to us, through them, and in them. And by coming in their connection, they're helping to raise us to that transcendental platform of conception, of consciousness. By their grace, by their words, by their service to them, we can make progress in that direction, toward that world. So it's very important that we remember them, all of them. Spiritual world is full of variegatedness. We are so focused on this material world that we lose sight of that world, of the non-material world, the spiritual world. So our efforts as Bhakti yogis, we're Bhakti practitioners, is to remember as much as possible, try to remember our spiritual family, the transcendental world, and all the personalities there are trying to bring us back to our original consciousness, to our Krishna consciousness. Reclaim our attention, reclaim our hearts, reclaim our love that has been expended, it's being expended in other things, other worldly things. So by saying these prayers every week, by remembering these personalities, that re-inspires us and reconnects us so that we may get their mercy again, flowing through our veins, flowing through our hearts, flowing through our minds, flowing through our bodies, flowing throughout the world, as remembering their connection. Can we say, I offer my obeisance unto Sri Gurudev, who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance with the salve of divine knowledge. Our eyes, when we are born, they see only the world. And we grow up seeing only the world and involved with people who know only the world, material world. Associate our teachers, friends, our societies. They're all engrossed or embedded, focused on the world, the material world. And what information do we have about what is beyond this world, of the transcendental world beyond this? It only comes from these transcendental personalities that we mentioned before. And that whole world of those transcendental persons becomes known to us through whom? Through Guru. Guru opens our eyes to that higher world. It's all coming out, pouring down through him or her, Gurudev. And in that way, we can get some eye, some vision, some way to think of something, to focus something on something other than just the mundane activities of this world and the daily routines that are involved in maintaining our material existence, or fighting the elements of this material world or whatever. We have some relief to raise our thoughts and our hearts higher to a higher position by the grace of Gurudev. We want to always maintain that connection, with Gurudev, who is the source of that higher world conception. And through him, we gain connection to the higher world. And then we recognize Acharya Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj and Sridhara Maharaj. That particular line, which we are following, trying to follow at least, these representatives. Okay, that was basically what I wanted to say about that today. Anyone else want to say something about our Vandanam prayers? Do you think about what this means when we chant them? What we're doing? And what Vandanam means? Vandanam. Prayerful remembrance, huh? Vandanam.
Last week, I realized that Srila Gauracandra Das Babaji Maharaj is the only Acharya who has Radha Rani's name directly in his pranam mantra. No one else has Radha Rani's name, Radha Bhava.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Hmm?
you can see.
I don't think so.
Acharya Maharaj doesn't have it directly in, no Radharani.
Oh, wait a minute.
So
In the English, what does it say? English.
in the English,
Dedication to Mahabhava Sripati Radharani.
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, but it's not in the Sanskrit.
Ananta Shira. Sometimes don't have to say directly Radha's name. The significance behind that is more important than just her name. Because the real Vaishnava Siddhanta is Radhadasya. And who is not teaching that, they are not representative, full representative of our Guru Varga. The intent, the whole essence, whole mood is emphasized Radhadasya, the service of Srimati Radharani, the service of the servant of Krishna. Radharani is the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. Prabhupada called her like that. The servitor Godhead. And we are inspired by her service of Krishna. Even beyond Krishna, as her service, her love of Krishna is the most magnanimous, most infinite thing, the highest thing that can be thought of. Evil.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay. And we'll go to Sri Prapanna-jivanamrtam. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pari-Bhakti-Acharya Astatara Sata Sri Sripad Bhakti Yoga Sri Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Sri Prapanna-jivanamrtam ki jai.
Yeah.
Now we are reading text of chapter, what is this, chapter 6?
Yeah.
Chapter 6 and text number 17. Yeah. But did we read number 16?
Yeah, we did.
We read that.
Yeah.
Okay, text 17. Embracing the Lord's guardianship means basically surrender to Guru, allowing our lives to be guided by the instructions of Guru. That's how we practice and express our mood of surrender. Try to perfect our mood of surrendered service to the ultimate truth. What we know is called knowledge. What we know. The emphasis here is on we. What we know is called knowledge. But what is, that's called truth. I am only a part of what is. What is, that is the truth, and I am part of that. And what I know, that belongs to me, my knowledge. So beyond my knowledge, there is the truth. What I know and what the truth is may not be exactly the same, and probably aren't exactly the same because I'm finite, and the truth is infinite. So how could it be the same? So what we know and what the truth is, they may not be the same thing, and probably aren't. So the only way we can get to the truth is not by knowing, but by surrender. Or the only way we come in contact with that, which is greater than anything we can do, beyond any means we have of reaching that truth, putting it into our fist, making it in our brain, our mind, by making it a part of our comprehension. We can't do that because it's bigger than us. Only thing that's left for us is to surrender. We have to give ourselves to that. Allow that truth to manipulate us, to guide us, to give us his mercy or their mercy, and allow us to participate in their reality, the beautiful. By his mercy, Krishna can manifest himself to those who surrender to him. Sarvadharmam parityaja, mam ekam sharanam bhaja. He manifests himself. He destroys the ignorance that gives the living entity his existence within this material world as the all in all. He destroys that ignorance. He helps us to rise above our knowledge, what we know, and enter into the plane of unknowing, free existence, spontaneous existence. It can only be tasted, can only be felt within the heart by the grace of Krishna, by the grace of Guru. That is our only guidance in that area, in that realm. Our faith in Gurudev will guide us. The only lighthouse we have. We are floating in the ocean of material existence. And the lighthouse is there. When the ship is out in the ocean, all dark, cloudy, and the waves are beating against the boat, against the ship. And the only reckoning point, the only steady point where they can determine their position, where they are with respect to land, that comes from the lighthouse. They see that light, and then they know where they are, how far they are from land, and which part of the ocean they are situated. So that lighthouse, when we try to enter the infinite, that lighthouse has to be there for us. Otherwise, which direction do we go in? So that is Gurudev. And we have to follow that light. And then we will know how to go, how to proceed. So text number 17, Bhagavatas Chaitanya Chandrasya Patita Palakatvam Samsara Dukkha Jalado Patitasya Kama Godadi Nakra Makarai Kavali Kritasya Durvasana Nigatitasya Nirastrayasya Chaitanya Chandra Atama Dehi Pada Valambam Prabodhananda Saraswati, Prabodhananda Padavam Srila Prabodhananda. Sri Chaitanya Chandra's guardianship for the fallen. O Chaitanya Chandra, I have fallen into the miserable ocean of material existence and being devoured by the sharks and alligators of lust, anger, greed, badness, delusion, and hatred. Chained by wicked desires, I am bereft of any shelter. Please graciously grant me the refuge of your holy lotus feet. We are being attacked by monsters. And our leg is chained to a rock. Our leg is chained to the rock. And the monsters are attacking us. Now what to do? That chain is the desire, a material desire. Although we're suffering from so many evils, we're taking it again and again, being tortured and pounded upon and eaten and whatever. Of course, we're trained by desire to this material world. We're taking it, thinking it, well, I must what is the word?
Persist.
Persist.
Persevere.
Persevere. I must persevere despite all these problems because the ignorant person doesn't know anything beyond this material world. Who is without guru? He doesn't know anything beyond this material world. He doesn't know anything beyond what he knows. He knows what he knows, but that knowledge is not sufficient for what there is. Knowing what you know is not enough. That's limited because you're limited. Everybody thinks they can go on living by what they know. And by increasing their knowledge, they somehow become more capable of enjoying this world. But it's all limited. We don't approach truth by that process. And we can't approach truth by that self-centered process of trying to establish our ground within ourselves, self-sufficient, what they say, self-determination. That freedom, that self-determination means freedom, but that freedom they are looking for comes only by dying to live, by surrender, by becoming a slave. How you can become free by becoming a slave? This paradox. Does slavery mean freedom? Or does slavery mean unfreedom? Does slavery mean you become a prisoner? You become a prisoner of Krishna? No. Yes, that is freedom. When you get locked up by Krishna's heart, then you are free. Because in his heart, there's only sweetness and love and beauty and charm. All desires are satisfied there. Akila Rasamita Murti. The reservoir of all pleasure and enjoyment, whatever there may be, knowledge of bliss, of consciousness, everything is there. Every desire is fulfilled, so there is no desire. Yeah, a very nice image Prabodhananda Saraswati is giving us to meditate on. Huh? A nice conception. Next, number 18. Nirashasyapi asha pradhan gora sharanam. Ha hanta hanta param paramasara chitta pumo. Vyarti bhavanti mama vadana katayopi. Sarvatmana tad aham adbhuta bhakti bijam. Sri Gauracandra sharanam karobi. Again, Prabodhananda Saraswati. The shelter of Sri Gauracandra gives hope to the hope. Alas, to cultivate the barren and rocky desert land of my heart, tens of millions of assiduous attempts have proven to be simply futile. Therefore, with all the will at my command, I embrace the shelter of Sri Gaurachandra's lotus feet, the source of the miraculous seed of pure devotion. So interesting. He compares his heart to a desert. In a desert, there's nothing, sand. Nothing lives, nothing except for sand and more sand. Dry sand. Pick it up in your hand, it just runs right through your fingers. Huh? A very fragile type of earth. The heart is made of that kind of dry, fragile substance. And then he says, all the attempts, tens of millions of times in this, to cultivate that heart, to bring something out of that heart. We're trying so hard to fulfill our heart's desires. They're like trying to grow vegetation in the desert. You can't grow anything nice there in the desert. Desert just doesn't have what it takes to produce vegetation like that. You need water and other things. In the Mutt logo, Srila Maharaja depicted the lotus flower sitting in the water above the sun. And above is the son of Gurudev. And the water is necessary, not the son of Krishna. And below, and the Gurudev is the water, without which the lotus flower would not be able to grow, would not be able to thrive, not be able to manifest itself. So the desert, the land is not sufficient to make things grow. You also need water, earth and water. And the sun is fire, earth, water, fire. And you also need air and ether, the subtle energy of the moon. All these things are necessary. Dr. Teresa ki jai.
Yeah.
How are you? Good to see you.
All these are needed. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. In the desert, you have earth and you have fire. Huh? But it's not sufficient for producing anything. So whatever attempts we make to produce something from that desert will be futile. However many times we try to plant a rose or a potato or a vegetable or whatever we might try to plant there, it will ultimately die because we don't have sufficient necessities to make it thrive. Like that, people are trying to do things in this world without all the necessities that are required, by their chemicals and their technology and their science, whatever they may have, is not sufficient. They're missing important ingredients that are necessary for getting the results that we are looking for. Our necessities are not only material, but also spiritual. And all material endeavors that don't recognize that are missing the point and will not satisfy us. It will produce only failures will result only in failures.
Hollow.
Huh?
Hollow.
Hollow, superficial, empty attempts. They won't satisfy the real desire. That what won't produce what we really want. Don't produce satisfaction. So real knowledge is missing, is lacking. What is necessary for a productive life, for a satisfying life? The real knowledge of that is missing. Material knowledge doesn't supply that missing part. And thus all our efforts become basically suicidal. We're basically killing ourselves despite all our material advancement and making the planet worse and worse. We're supposed to be an advanced society. Yet in the last century, let's say, in the 20th century, there have been more wars on this planet than ever before in history. Is this an advancement of culture? Trump, that presidential candidate, he's preaching that everything is going to hell in his country. He's right. Not only this country, but in the whole world. But his idea is that he's the solution to it all. No, Mr. Trump, you are not the solution. You are one part of the problem. Krishna is the solution. Gurudev is the solution. I need a proper spiritual guide, proper spiritual guidance in this world. That's what this chapter is about. Cultivating Varanam, seeking a proper spiritual guide in our life to adjust our lives according to our genuine spiritual nature, the general spiritual nature of truth. The material world is a temporary covering of what is the eternal truth of our spiritual nature. It's just a temporary covering. And we give so much importance to that temporary thing and forget the eternal. That's our mistake. That is the illusion under which we live. That the temporary somehow is important and the transcendental, the spiritual, well, we can think of that sometimes. We can think of the spiritual like sometimes during the day we take a cup of tea to interrupt our material activities. We take a sip of spiritual life too. I remember when I was a kid, about 10 or 12 years old, I used to be really into God. I was raised in a Roman Catholic family. Go to church every Sunday, and I was going to Catholic school. And I remember we'd go to church every Sunday with the family. And I was thinking, why are these people so foolish? They understand there's God, and yet they only spend 1 hour a week at church, thinking of Him. And all the rest of their time, they're doing other things. How stupid can people really be? If God is there and you understand that God is there, then why is He not the most important thing in your life? That's the way I used to think. I couldn't understand how people can say they believe in God and yet give so little time. If there's God, then it's the most important thing in our life. We should give all the time to that. Every other moment is a wasted thing, a less significant, a less important, an ignorant thing. Very idealistic as a youth. But then as I became older, I realized that what I was thinking was true. That's what Prabhupada was saying. That's what the Acharyas are saying. That's what Krishna is saying. And by practicing these things in my life, we become happy. Not that our material situation improves. That didn't happen. But we become somehow happy in a very simple way, in a very happy way. By Krishna's mercy. And by the mercy of you all, maybe my friends, that brings some happiness in my life too. And you think in a similar way, at least are willing to think about that every once in a while with me. Teresa, you look like you're in the mountains of the Himalayas. Huh?
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yes. Okay. Any questions? Comment? Anyone want to say?
Yes, Maharaja, I'm writing little comment. One minute, please. 1 minute, please.
Okay. Do you see the beautiful painting that Linda made?
Oh, that's Linda's painting. Wow, that's beautiful.
So beautiful.
She should have her name on there. So, I didn't know it was her. Beautiful.
Maharaj, when did you come to Krishna consciousness then? You were brought a Roman Catholic.
Huh?
When did you come to Krishna consciousness?
After I got my Ph.D. in theoretical chemistry, I realized that after having achieved the heights of material education, I really didn't feel very satisfied with things, that I understood anything. Rather, I felt like I had lost the whole meaning of life, because science teaches that we're all a bunch of atoms and molecules. That's all science presents as a reality. And I was thinking, well, that's a pretty bleak desert-like understanding of reality. Talk about sand flowing through your fingers. Well, a bunch of atoms just pick it up, try to pick it up. It's just like sand flowing through your fingers. There's no life there. So at that stage of kind of feeling rather depressed by the whole thing, I came in contact with a devotee in Washington, D.C., where I was going to school. And just one time, just that speaking with him one time, I understood everything. Because he basically told me, you are a person and God is a person. And I thought, well, that's a much better understanding of things than to think of ourselves as atoms or molecules. Much more substantial and satisfying way to think and understand things. And that was back in 1970, perhaps. And that's how I began my sojourn into Krishna consciousness. And they talked about things like, you are sat-cit-ananda, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Why, that's wonderful. I really like that idea. Eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. I said, nobody else is teaching such a thing. They're all telling you carbon monoxide and hydrogen peroxide and other things. That's not very exciting. But to say that we are eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, wow, that's worth pursuing. So whatever they were saying, I said, okay, I'll try it. Because I wanted to see if what they're saying is true. I'm a scientist, so let me put it to the test. Let me experiment. And this time I put myself in the test tube by trying the process of Bhakti Yoga to see what result I would get. That was my scientific nature attempt to understand what they were telling, if it was correct or not. So far, I think it's okay. Everything is going on. I haven't lost track of that whole idea. It still is attracting my heart. And hopefully, by some miracle or other, we can make a little progress every time, every day, in that direction. That's how it all started, Linda David.
Oh, because that's different. When I did my PhD in chemistry, I didn't feel so. I felt it opened up. I felt because I looked in between that, and I think maybe what I studied, it opened more up to there being more than just molecules. So my experience of PhD chemistry is different to yours.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
How did it open up your mind for it?
Because I've always had an open mind, and I think because I did, I made an electronic nose, and with that I had to do aromatics and a lot of analytical chemistry. But what I also did was like neural networks, things like that. So I looked much more into what maybe wasn't there, like just the molecules or something. It was looking at all the connections and looking at more than just the molecules.
I see. Their interaction.
And there's something else there, being something else there, not just the molecules doing the work. It was looking at, I don't know, like what they say is noise a lot, don't they, in chemistry? When you do experiments, there's noise. What's that noise? It's that sort of, I think that was opened my mind up more to that. And I think when I was younger, I read Gurdjieff as well, which really opened my mind up to that sort of.
Okay.
Who did you read?
Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff?
We can't understand what the name.
Gurdjieff. His philosophy. He wrote lots of books.
Oh, Virgin.
Yes.
Of course you have. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Nandawat Inga Prabhu. Dibo.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Dandavad.
Just came by for a quick hello.
Glad you can join us.
Happy New Year.
Yes. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's very nice, Linda. Yeah, good. That did not occur to me. Yes,
No,
yeah, I
I
thought
became more than a scientist. I think the science taught me to be more than a scientist, to think differently to other scientists.
Yeah.
Well, you can see she went from a scientist to an artist, so somehow
Yes.
Well, to be a good scientist, you've got to be creative. You've got to be creative. You have to. So they're very. There's a lot of connection between science and art.
Yeah. Well, that's a very, very important point that you're making, because nowadays we just had a conference, and the people who were speaking were talking about that exact same point, that science, especially in the science of biology, of organic systems, they're realizing that an atomic explanation of things does not suffice to explain how the living organism is operating. What they're observing under the microscopes is too miraculous to be explained in terms of movements of molecules. And they're recognizing now that they have to study it under a different conception altogether, and they call that systems theory, which means that things have to be understood not in terms of their particles, but in terms of the relationships that exist within the different frames of seeing things, by which things exist. And they said, like, the beating of the heart can't be understood in terms of molecules. Molecules don't contribute to the beating of the heart. The beating of a heart is a completely different phenomenon. It's there to regulate. It has a function to regulate the blood in the body. That's a much higher conceptual framework than can be encompassed by molecular and mechanical interactions. So therefore, if they want us to understand organisms, they have to come to this more complex understanding of what's going on at that level, at the level of the body, and they call that systems theory or complexity theory.
Okay.
See, and now they're and they seem to be rejecting the whole atomic and evolutionary explanation of life. At that higher level of systematic interaction of different things. Just like, the beating of a heart is not sufficient, although that's a system in itself, is not sufficient to understand, the relationships, social interactions between people. So social interaction with people, that's a whole different framework of understanding interactions than at the level of the heart beating or at the level of molecules, colliding into one another. So they're different, like that, hierarchies of relational systems that have to be considered when we want to try to comprehend the whole of which we are a part, and cannot be just understood in a very localized way like that. We have to expand our understanding, expand our horizons. We're embracing these more holistic, yes.
Yeah.
Holistic understanding of things. So yes,
Yeah.
and we say when you extend that to the highest degree, then you reach God. Then you reach Krishna.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, that's it.
I think it's the God that's the in-between that makes everything work.
Then you come to the conclusion of knowledge. Vedanta. Anta means the conclusion of Veda, the conclusion of knowledge. But to go to that, reach that point takes a little time, see, because they're going one minute step at a time. But anyhow, one step at a time, however you make it, as long as we go in the right direction, as long as we make it, that's the main thing. So thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Madhava, Maharaj.
We love you. Hope everything will be well. Wish you good luck, good health.
Maharaj, I sent to little comment.
Okay, let's see what Harinanda said.
Sorry.
Dhanavad pranams, Maharaj and devotees. Politicians and scientists act as if they are guides who know the truth, and their speeches only deal with the material aspect of life. They are all scoundrels who preach about only satisfying themselves, and people staying in ignorance. Even Christian religions and other temples only talk about material things that God supposedly sends to them, and that is what their faith is based on. The truth can only be reached by the guidance of the Guru. There is only one royal path. It is service to Radha Krishna in the form of Gurudev. That is so easy to understand. Those political, scientific, and religious scoundrels do not understand it. That is why the world is falling and times are getting worse. We must preach the truth and follow the path laid out by the Infinite through his authorized agent, Guru, Shastra, Vaishnavas. Haribol.
Jai Harinanda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Okay.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev. So, Inga Prabhu, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No.
No.
I was just doing laundry, so I came up. So.
Just say hi. That's very good enough for us.
Hi is good. It's good to see everyone.
Yes, you too.
Good to see you.
My Dhanavad Pranam to all. Please be
Dhanavad.
well, be healthy, be safe.
Dhanavad pranams, Maharaj.
Dhanavad.
Haribol.
Dhanavad Maharaj. I love you.
Dhanavad.
Maharaj.
Can see me.